Welcome to this Tutor to You sociology topic video on education and social class identity. Understandably, on the A-level specification, a lot of the focus of sociologists is on the inequality of achievement between those of different social classes. But another impact of processes and relationships within the education system is how education shapes social class identity. It's often assumed that an individual's identity is formed because of their cultural background, but equally important is the role of other socializing agents such as the education system, media, and religion. With so much of a student's formative life being spent in education, school has the power to reinforce, reject, or reshape a student's concept of who they are. And as we've discussed already in previous videos, it is the culture of the middle class that is dominant in education. And that leads to those who identify with working class culture being rejected and forced to adapt a middle class identity to fit in. But how do schools shape identity? According to Louise Archer, one of the ways in which schools shape the identity of working class students is through rejecting the working class habitus in the education system. In her research of working class students, she found that they developed identities that were independent of the school, only based upon wearing branded sportswear, or what we call Nike identities, and for working class girls they adopted heterosexual identities based upon wearing makeup and gaining status if they had a boyfriend. These were seen as reactions to having their habitus, that of the working class, rejected in schools, which Archer refers to as an act of symbolic violence. In response to this, working class students look to gain symbolic capital through conforming to these Nike and heterosexual identities, which further alienates them from the habitus of education, and teachers look to clamp down on their behaviour. This forces the students away from the symbolic violence of education and towards the symbolic capital and collectivist nature of their peers. Teacher interactions is another way in which schools shape social class identity. As highlighted by Archer, teachers' reactions to pupil identity will either reinforce or reject the identity of different social classes. The middle class habitus, the way they dress, the way they speak, and their interests outside of the classroom will be reinforced, and this may lead to the students moving into pro-school subcultures, where their identity be one of personifying the school's ethos. Conversely, students who do not conform to the habitus of education, namely working class students, will be chastised for their appearance, their accents, and their interests outside of the classroom. This rejection of their cultural habitus will result in either altering their taste to conform to those of the middle class, or more commonly rejecting school and seeking out those who have similar tastes, often through formation of anti-school subcultures. Membership to these groups then form part of the student's identity, and therefore the reactions of teachers can shape a student's identity. Another way in which identity can be formed is through selection policy. Externally, students will undergo a process of trying to gain admission to the top schools, and acceptance into higher performing schools can positively